Check, check. Alrighty. Going to dive right into this because I am what's called professional dad mode at the moment. I got a 3-year-old running around, and then I got my 4-month-old sitting in my little dad vest here. So if you hear something in the background, those would be children. But without further ado, let us unleash this Army of the Dead Necromancer PvP build. I'm going to be uploading a couple of videos after this, maybe one montage combined, just to get the build video out, or I'm sorry, not the build, display the build in all of its gloriness. So let's dive right into it, shall we? Looking at our character sheet, these are our unbuffed stats. We are sitting at great recovery off the bat. All of our max stats are looking good too. We're above 30,000 health. That's a must in PvP. But most importantly, it is a hybrid build, so we're going to be dipping into both Magicka and Stamina pools, so that way we can optimize the Necromancer's skills and some of the off-class skills as well to help just make the build as great as it can be. So we are also a Stage 3 Vampire, and while I have it on my mind before I forget, this is a Khajiit. Khajiit is best in slot because of the critical damage that it provides for one of the Necro passives, Death Kneel. The lower the enemy target's health gets, the higher the crit chance you have. And then, of course, the Khajiit does bonus crit damage on top of it. So, our Mundus is going to be the lever to help out with penetration, and we are using the Jewels of Misrule. So, before one of our Gravelord abilities are active, our spell pen sits at 8600. I know it seems kind of low, but it's okay at the moment. 44 points into Magicka and 20 points into health. Looking at our back bar stats before buffed, our spell and critical resistance are 21 and 20. And then when we hit our major resolve, we sit 27, 26, and the resistance flash will obviously make that go up as well too, the lower our health is. This video is going to be quick and to the point just because I do have some rambunctious children running around, so I'm just trying to get the build video out there because I'm very excited with the results that it has been displaying for me in Battlegrounds and Open World. So if I'm talking quick, I'm just trying to be hasty here. Bear with me. Alright, so jumping into the gear, I guess, you know what, let me show you the fully buffed stats here. Yes, buff simulator. So here's our front bar, looking pretty darn good if you ask me. And then our back bar, 27, 26 still, and then our recoveries across the board. Does that show with the ghost? Yeah, okay, cool. Alright, jumping into our gear here. Starting off with Potentates. When was the last time you saw a Potentate build? So with this, obviously it's going to be reducing our damage taken from enemy players, so that's great for PvP. Running a sharpened lightning staff, and then one of the rings for instead of body. You can't run body with this set, you have to run jewelry. So we got a ring, and then it doesn't have to be healthy, but I was just trying to make my max health as much as I could, just because when one of our other sets is down, we can be kind of squishy, so keep that in mind. Second set, Nobility and Decay. It's hard to put this one down. I've tried others like Wretched Vitality. The sustain's obviously better with that. Our sustain isn't an issue on this build. Our issue is setting up our burst potential. You could also go with Clever Alchemist if you really wanted to, but like I said, this one's kind of hard to put down only because of the way I use it. You can use it for the tethers, but I have it in mind for something else. So you cast a Bone Tyrant ability, grants you Death's Favor for 16 seconds, increases your healing received, and reduces damage taken up by 12%. Combine that with the Vampire, we're sitting at around 42% damage mitigation. So combine that with Dead and Pain, and then our Ghost, and then the free buff that Dead in Pain gives, reducing our damage just by having it slotted. We're getting a ton of damage mitigation. So if you really wanted to, you could even slot the Psijic ultimate, but with that you're kind of losing out on the timer for Nobility and Decay, because we keep Ravenous Goliath on the bar just to reduce that cooldown. Going into our next set, we are running Akavari Dragon Guard. Now I know some people are going to be like, what is going on with this build? Where is all of the offense? We're not running any offense on this build. This build is strictly defense. Our offense will come from our skills, and that's with the help of our 3 sets that we're running with this. So this is going to give us Magic Recovery, Healing Taken, Max Health, more Health Recovery, reduces the cost of our ultimate abilities by 15%. Now if you're paying attention to Potentates, that's also 15%. So now we're at a 30% reduced cost ultimate. Now, with that being said, if you really wanted to, you could lower it even more with Hexproof, but the way that our bar's set up, it's not going to work. Our Animate Blast Bones only costs 250 ultimate. And while having Dead and Pained up pretty much all the time for any corpse that you see, you're going to be getting this, I've done the math, about every 25 to 28 seconds. That is a huge uptime on Animate Blast Bones. If you use the other morph, you probably have it even quicker, probably around 20-second range. But I like to have the major protection on my side, so that's why I have Dead and Pained instead of Necrotic Potency. So, with that being said, 250 ultimate, that is absolutely crazy. Now if they were to actually reduce the cost of this next patch and that it's changed to Blighted Blast Bones, I think Necromancer is going to be right up there in either A tier or S tier, because this ability alone is the hardest hitting ultimate in the game, and I've seen it crit on so many people where I feel like the game almost lags out. So I'll show you in the clips after this. I'm so excited to display this build and showcase pretty much everything that I put together. I mean, this is ultimately what Necromancer was made to do. Have all of its pets and then summon an army of the dead and just blast everyone away. Pun intended. Alright, back into the sheet here. So we're running Body Pieces of Dragon and Nobility. We're running 4 heavy, just because I like to get back extra resources with heavy attacks, both front bar and back bar. We are running a bow on the back bar just to get our stam back if we need it, because our spammable does cost stamina. And then Marken Ring of Majesty. This was probably our best choice for a mythic overall because of its bonus here. So since we are running 3 sets, we get 300 weapon and spell damage and 3,400, almost 3,500 armor. Now, usually when you run this, you only see the 2-part bonus, but since we are running 3 sets, this is giving us our best bang for our buck. So if you think that you could do something else here and get away with it, be my guest, but this is what works for me, and I just do what feels good. Like I said, this is healthy. It could be anything else. I've probably infused would be your best, but the other 2 are infused, so I left them that way. And try to get as much divine as you can to beef up that penetration. Sorry about that. Alright, so jumping into our skills here, we're running Inner Light and Degen just because the Necro lacks both of these buffs that are pretty crucial for the build. Major Prophecy, Savagery, and then of course Major Brutality, Major Sorcery. That's just given. These have been in the game since launch, so if you don't know what these are, check out the Mages Guild. Try and get these. I know it's a grind, but this is what's been working best for me, so these 2 must be on the bar. Third skill, Skeletal Archer. Generally this is what you would use in dueling, but I've learned that the corpse itself is more important, but this is obviously the better of the 2 morphs because it increases the damage the longer that the Skeletal Archer is alive. And for whatever reason, if you have to resummon it just to give yourself the corpse. It's coming off of your stamina, which doesn't cost that much to begin with. We're not going to miss it. It's set in stone. Crushing Weapon. This right here does two things in one skill. It's going to be our spammable, and at the same time it's also going to give us Major Breach, reducing the target's physical and spell resistance by 5948 for 5 seconds. Why this is so important to me: 1, it's our spammable, 2, it costs stamina, and 3, there's so many ways to purge off of there's so many ways to purge different debuffs on you. So with that always constantly going, this is our best way to keep applying it without losing that burst window. So like Templars, you know, Necros, Mara's Balm, all that stuff, that's gonna, you know, remove all of those negative effects to you, and then having this every 5 seconds is just gonna basically give you that uptime all the time. Blast Bones, set in stone. This could possibly change next patch, only because we're either going to be using Blighted Blast Bones and nothing will change, or depending on what goes on with the morph that they're having in place. I suggested on the forum to, while you cast this, they said that casting it, it's just going to run to you instead of at a target, and then it's going to buff you and give you 20% increased damage. I said that it should run to you and then burst on you at the same time. So kind of how it similarly bursts over here, but it would jump to you instead and do the same damage, if not half the damage. Who knows? Sorry about that. Alright, so Blast Bones, yeah, like I said, I'm not really sure which skill we're going to be using, but as of now where it stands, I really do enjoy the way that the current play style I have adopted with this build works, so we're just going to continue using Blighted unless something else with the new skill comes about. With that being said, our ultimate's also going to be spawning Blighted Blast Bones, so nothing's going to change there, but if they reduce the cost on the ultimate as well, which I really hope they do, then that's just going to benefit Necro even more. Looking at our back bar skills, Dead in Pain, it got a buff a couple of patches ago, doubling our time up for the major protection, and then of course it's going to give us 2 ultimate for each corpse that we do, along with a heal on top of it, along with our damage reduced by 3%, along with it being a free skill. It does a whole bunch of stuff, and the skill's free, so it stays on the bar. Resistant Flash, our burst heal, it's going to cost quite a bit, but as long as you're not spamming it, you should be okay. Race Against Time is going to be increasing our critical damage and our movement speed. It's also going to be our major expedition and our snare removal. Summoner's Armor, Spirit Guardian, and Ravenous Goliath. So you have 3 Bone Tyrant abilities on here, so it's going to reduce our cooldown with Nobility and Decay by 6 seconds. I don't know why it says 0. I think it's just a glitch in the tooltip, but 6 seconds overall. Looking to our champion points, we have Fighting Finesse, Force of Nature, Master at Arms, Untamed Aggression, Boundless Vitality, Sustained by Suffering, Pain's Refuge, and Celerity. There is one more option that you could do with the build. Now with that being said, it kind of makes you play around with your pots a little bit. If you don't like the degen inner light combination, you're more than welcome to drop degen, put on a snare, not a snare, I'm sorry, a CC, and then you can drop inner light and put on Mystic Siphon. Mystic Siphon's a great skill. It's going to boost our damage more while giving us a recovery. It's also going to tether to us since we're using Nobility and Decay. I can demonstrate that here for you right now. So we're going to spam our bow here a little bit. Wait for these guys to cool down. Recast. Now it's on ourselves. So you can run around like this for 20 seconds, and we're going to get the AoE dot, and then it's also going to boost our recubs too at the same time. Real sweet skill that Nobility and Decay gives us, and it's going to give our penetration a buff as well. So, you can play like that. There's obviously a little bit harder to take enemies out, only because degen gives a nice dot, and it's going to help out with our mag recovery. I do like playing this kind of play style, but you know, it's better in group. It's not the greatest for solo, but I mean, I can make it work. If you can make it work, that's kind of up to you. But like I said, the preferred play style that I think works best is inner light and degen. Unless they start giving Necro these buffs, then you won't have to worry about these at all, and that would just put Necro right at the top, I think. If there's anything else I'm missing, please let me know in the comments below. I will try to upload as many videos following this videos too. Alright guys, peace out. Stay frosty. I'll see you in the graveyard.